Yes, people. What's going on? Welcome back to United View. Welcome to another morning view. Smash a like on the channel. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Actually, smash a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. And whilst you are there, make sure you hit that notification button so you know exactly when we're going live, exactly when there's a new video, and you never miss a trick. Straight up, we'd like to do a little roll call, see who's there, see who's locked in, see who's feeling good, see who's wishing us well for the day. Slick Flick Cooley says, big up, bless up, fam. Holla UV, hola UV, says Javid. Free Chido. We are going to be talking about Chido. Don't you worry about that. Top of the morning says Timo. Morning, everyone, says Big ROS or Big Ross. And Dave says good morning, UV fam. And McPherson TV straight off the bat, like we said at the top of the show. Please like and subscribe. Get it in, man. Let's go. Let's get it. I'm here, bro, says JH. Good morning, gang. WJ Barrett, hope you and the family are good. School run or nursery run or whatever it is you got going on in the household, bro. Hope you're good. Lil Yo-Yo, come on, here every single day, as are many of you as well. Shout out Lil Yo-Yo. Kenny Fan TV, Liverpool head loss. Oh, it was beautiful last night. I turned it off. I turned it off at 2-1. I went, I knew Salah would do this. It's so long. Yeah. And I went to watch Celtic and Bayern. Then in the group, I'm seeing Cecil. He's like, hold that AGT. Oh, wait, it's offside. I've gone too early. And I thought, no, hold on a minute. I think that was the offside from earlier. I think he's way, I don't know what he's looking at. And I went, wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. What's up? Wait a minute. And
No, wait a minute. Wait.
I literally did that. And then I flicked back to it whilst it was in the VAR, but I'd already had the spoiler alert already. But Liverpool tears. I mean, we don't need to talk about it on a big thing, but near the end, we might have a little laugh. That was funny.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of head loss, so it was good. Hopefully, this is the beginning of the downfall. You know what I mean? It's the beginning of Arsenal rise with absolutely no forwards, and take the title from Liverpool. 7 points. Ooh, Liverpool got to go Villa next, innit? I think.
Rashford
next. I swear it's Villa. Or is it Arsenal that have to go Villa? Someone's got to go Villa away. Oh, Forest. Someone's got they've got a difficult game.
Liverpool got Wolves at home, and then they've got to go Villa away.
Right, there you go. So the Arsenal fans are like, I tell you what, Rashi, come on. You know what I mean? But
they're hilarious to us. Well, I'll get to a bit on the Arsenal fans in a bit because this kind of ties into what we're going to talk about. Shall we talk about Chido?
Let's talk about Chido,
who apparently wants to just be known as Chido Obi, not Chido Obi-Martin. But, you know, it's a bit like the Ahmad. Okay. It's a bit like the Ahmad thing. He only likes to be called Ahmad, not Ahmad.
Can I just ask a quick thing? It's a quick, so the Obi, is there going to be some Star Wars stuff going on with Chido Obi? Are they going to start? Obi-Wan? No, it's not.
No. You know what? I hadn't even thought about it. I hadn't even thought about it. I hadn't even gone. You planted the seed now in my head. That might have been sort of the wrong thing to do.
Okay.
But, no.
Yeah.
You know,
because you Star Wars people, I know as soon as you hear any reference to do with it, it's a big thing. So
you people, how dare you? How dare you?
Yeah, because I'm not like you lot. No. So
right.
I still haven't got into. I haven't been accepted into your world.
Yeah.
So
well, you're welcome. You're welcome anytime.
Yeah. I've got them all loaded. Yeah. I've got them all like saved as when I've got time. I've got them in the chronological order or the order you're supposed to, whatever the order that I was given to me.
Yeah.
And I saw that one of them was like 1970 something is the first one I got to watch. And I was like, well,
yeah.
I don't know if
I wouldn't even watch that one first.
See, and this is what let's get to Chido. Because it's gonna.
So it's fine. So obviously last night Man United's academy was playing Man United under 18s, and they stunned Chelsea. They knocked them out of the FA Youth Cup in style by 5-1. They even went 1-0 down, Flex, and it got a hat trick. There was a hat trick from Chido Obi-Martin as well as James Scanlon got 2 goals too. And obviously, at a time in which Manchester United can't score goals, struggle to score goals, look toothless in the attack once again. The question is being raised is that can Amorim ignore Chido Obi-Martin with these goals that he's scoring? It's not the first time he has scored a hat-trick for the Manchester United under-18s this season. He's been scoring a lot of goals. I think it was Samuel Lucker said that he's already got the goals that Alejandro Garnacho got in the FA Youth Cup when United won it back in 21-22. And people going to tell you what, Garnacho next season, keep an eye on him. And he did break into the team next season. The question becomes, do you put him into the team? Do you put him into the squad? Do you have him training more regularly with the first teamers? Is he ready? I've seen people go, no, look, he's still very young. Is he still 17? I think he's still 17.
Yeah, still 17.
Still 17. And I didn't like the, people sort of basically putting him down in the sense, well, they were tapping goals. Hey, goal's a goal. That's
Just keep scoring.
Goal's a goal. What do you make of it all? Are you getting swept up in the hype, or like the comments are saying there, still a lot of time. We're not very good at the moment. Don't put him into this shit, basically.
Swept up by the hype, mate. Get him in. Get him in. Could be a big lift. If it doesn't work, just take him out. Then he can go back to the under 18s or whatever. I'm here for it. I need it. I need a lift. But in all seriousness, of course, we've got to be careful. Everyone's saying West wait till preseason. I understand why. I do understand why a lot of people are saying that. We have to be very, very careful with how it transpires with young players. But at the same time, if you are good enough, you're old enough. And that's the question is he good enough? How are we going to know unless you sort of let him test the waters a little bit? But managers have to assess that. And they're the ones who really know. The coaches who watch him week in, week out. We're getting the headlines. And actually, a lot of people here do watch under 18 football, 90 minutes, and watch the whole thing and follow it, to be fair. I cannot profess that I do that. So I'm not going to pretend. I'm seeing the same highlights and the same, stories and articles written about him that you guys are seeing. But if you are someone who watches religiously the under 18s properly, have your say and let us know, how good is he? And is he ready? Now, listen, he's special amongst where he is. So he's taking the piss out of that level. That's what is for sure. Can he go up into the 23s? Is that the next step to see how he does? A little bit older age group, but I don't know. Is it too easy? Because it's all about circumstance to just look at the likes of Ethan Nwaneri, Lewis Skelly. Aiden Heaven was in the same squad. They were all in the same squad last year, right? And obviously that transition into the first team, especially for Nwaneri. I mean, people were saying that Arteta gave him that debut at Brentford when he was it 16? I think he might have been 50. No, I think it's 16. And people were saying, I think it was 15. Someone can clarify. We've got a lot of good football heads in here who remember all the dates. Someone said, when did Ethan Nwaneri get that debut? Was he not 15 or 16? Something crazy. And he started to, and now look, he's part of the plans. Look at Lewis Skelly. Yeah, it was 50. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I think it was 15. He came on away at Brentford.
I know, but also as well, it goes back to, it's a bit like the Marcus Rashford thing when he made his debut for United, in the sense that right place, right circumstance. We are an all-firing creative team. That was what Bangal's last season it was. So yeah. we were not scoring goals, that team either. And it was a depleted team for injury, went in and he did well. So you then get into the discussion of, because sometimes, especially with how bad we are at the moment, it's, do you put a young player into a team that's really, really not doing well? You know what I mean? Yeah, do you really put a player into the team that's not doing very well? But at the same time, is that actually the time to put a player into a team? Because it's the best opportunity. Because if a team was doing really well, he wouldn't be getting a sniff, would he? Because there'd be senior players that would be far in front of him. So it is a difficult one. What I do think is hilarious, speaking of like the, I suppose, Arsenal connection, is that I don't know if you've seen this. I saw it was a post from AFTV, and I've seen a lot of sentiment shared around this going, Flex, if only he hadn't left, he'd be playing for Arsenal right now. I bet he regrets that. And you're going, literally, I'm going, this is more...
No, wait a minute.
So you're telling me, right, Arsenal, big Arsenal, amazing team, title contenders, challengers, because they didn't sign a striker, because they've got injuries, two people that they've been playing up front, Havertz, who's not even a striker, was it Martinelli and other players, that's Chido Obi-Martin's fault. that he somehow he's getting directed the blame of going, oh yeah, I bet he wishes he'd have stayed now. Well, obviously not, because he left for a team that at the moment is objectively worse as a team. So I don't think he has those regrets. Last night, after he scored the hat-trick, he literally put up a social media post going, "Love this club."
Mental.
I don't think he has. But I just thought, what kind of like psychosis do they find themselves in, where they're going, he's a mercenary. He's not even that good. Remember that? He's not even that good.
Yeah,
he left for the money. Then it turns out actually Man United was not the biggest offer that he got. He got offered more money elsewhere, which he turned down to go to Manchester United. Now, after senior players have got injured, they're now reframing it that a 17-year-old who decided he didn't want to be at Arsenal anymore, it's his fault. Like, I'll go, what's going on? I just don't understand.
I was on the shithousery. I've posted under AFTV. I love to get in their comment section sometimes, and I think they posted, "Oh, how many minutes with Chido have got now?" So, and then they've put like the minutes he's got in the under 18s, the 23s, and the senior is obviously 0. I just posted, "Yep, thanks guys." With the shake hands, we'll take it from here. We'll look after him, and that's just it. It's because they're in an absolute mess now with the forwards. They start to look back and go, "I'll tell you what, he would have been playing now. He actually would have got a chance." And actually, in a good team like Arsenal, where they create chances or whatever, better than us, he probably would have got a chance. Especially how much goals he's scoring and what he's been doing. You would like to think he probably would have got a chance. Back to us, though, the biggest question is, what does Ruben think of him? How is he being viewed in the mixture with the first team? And someone said that he has been training with the first team. I haven't seen a lot of that. Wouldn't we have seen loads of pictures? Wouldn't it be a big deal if he got into the first team training? I don't think he has.
But someone in the
I'm sure said he has.
I'm sure. Maybe he has. I don't know. But yeah. And again, recently it's been a weird one because I think after the departures in January of Rashford and Anthony, and knowing that we needed those more attacking players on the bench because we didn't really bring any attacking signings in, I think every time a matchday squad has come out, everyone's eyes have been going towards the bench going, is he going to be on there? Is he going to be named on there? But I think you're right. I mean, I swear we would have heard more about if he was training with the first
Everyone
team.
would have been posting it up. No, he hasn't trained Fleck. That's what I mean. A few people saying he hasn't. I'm not sure he has, and because if he had, it would be a big deal. We'd be like, it's happening. He's in first team training. This is where it starts. Looking at his goal record, obviously it's about what you do at the level you play at. So that's what gets you the name. I mean, last season, Jesus, he played 24 games and scored 32 goals. Just taking the absolute piss at Arsenal. He was scoring pretty much every game, 90 minutes every game. Yeah, I can see that. And then this season, again, it's all in the unders. He hasn't played any senior football yet, which is the biggest caveat. He's played 11 and scored 9. And already at United, he's played 8, scored 9. So he's just picked up.
And that's why obviously United were interested in him and that's why people knew about him when we got
only played
him
twice for the under 21s as well, our under 21s. So hasn't quite. Do you know what I mean? He's in the under 18s mainly since he's come in.
And again, that's the reason why I suppose that even we're talking about him now, and the reason why we were talking about him when the deal was done. Because again, it was one where it was like, oh, he's considering going to United, and then it was like, he's going to go to United. I mean, Fabrizio was highlighting it, doing a here we go. So it got more attention than usually a deal would at that level or a move would at that level. And the reason that he was highlighted is because, as you mentioned, Arsenal in the unders, he had this amazing goal scoring record to such an amazing goal scoring record that people go, oh, I'll tell you what, keep an eye on that. That's pretty impressive. And players do kind of get earmarked, don't they? And then whilst there are examples of players that, the signs are always there at a young age and they go on to become fantastic strikers and amazing goal records. There are just as many, aren't there, that have fantastic records at youth level and you never hear of them again, or they break in, or you think they're going to be the next big thing. And then, they play a couple of times and then you never hear of them again. And in 10 years' time, they're an obscure quiz question, aren't they?
Exactly.
Remember him?
Exactly. And you have to be careful he doesn't turn into that. But I think because we're so in need of a striker, we're so in need of a goal scorer, we automatically are pivoting and getting excited about Chido. And listen, both statements can be true. We can be excited about this kid. We can be excited about, Sekou Kone. we can be excited potentially about Aiden Heaven. I mean, he's ahead of all of them. He's actually training in the first team now, and has been given a couple of opportunities by Arsenal in the first team. So it was in and around it. On the bench for Arsenal, you know, started in the season, in the preseason.
He was on the bench for us Friday, wasn't he?
Oh, sorry, on the bench for us. Yeah, exactly. On the bench for us. So he's like Ruben said, he's ready to play. He's learning the system. He's training with our players. They're not just going to get these kids and just throw them in. They have to have been training with the first team to get a feel of what it is, unless there was a real, I don't know, if there was some bug or virus and it's like loads of first teamers went down and you just have to play them. Usually they do it, like, because even Rashford probably would have been, I can't remember off the top of my head, but probably would have been training with the first team to have been having a look at to even get to the bench. Yeah. So I just, I want to get caught up in a high. I'm like, release Chido. What have we got to lose, man? Listen, there's an equal argument for straight back the other side straight away. But sometimes in a season, you just need a pick-me-up. You just need to gamble. You just need to go for something, especially in the Premier League where we all unanimously agree that, like, it's dead. Like, what are we doing? Do you know what I mean? Like, we're not doing anything. Even if we win a couple, where are we really going to go? We can't do anything. So why not? Why not?
But also there's like that thing, isn't there, where back in the days where we were good, if you had like a home game against, say, Wolves or whatever, you go, perfect game, put him in. Recently, we've not been winning those games. So we're like,
no, we don't have a perfect game to put him in.
Don't put him in that one.
It'll be the deep end. Like, wherever it is, it'll be the deep end. There's no...
Exactly.
We can't put him in the shallow end to begin this, which is why a lot of people are probably right saying it's too chaotic and toxic this season. You get sucked into it. Get to the preseason. You know, Diego Leon will be there as well. That's another youngster to have a look at. You're talking about Sekuka. All of these crop of youngsters will probably get an opportunity to travel, a minimum travel with the squad and have a look at them. So do you just wait for that? More players come. Ruben's more calm. They can work on the principles of play and everybody improves together. Or do you put the kid in now and say, you know, drown or swim? So, sink or swim. So, I don't know. There's still a bit of me. It's, let's have a look. But clearly, let's be real. He's not. I don't think it's imminent that he's there. He's barely training with the first team. I don't think he has. So we'll see. I think when we see that, if we see him start training with the first team, then we're going to be like, oh, okay, it's starting. But even when we bought him, I know that the message to us was that it's definitely a 2-3 year thing. Like they will look to get him in there, but it's a project. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Nem Green says, I'm telling it's because of Chido's attitude why he's not starting. Don't know how you know that. Okay. Nem Green saying that. Don't know. I don't know anything about that. Ray Carl Brown says Chido is a good player, but the problem with our first team is not as creative as the under 18s. Ruben got to get his team, this team more creative for me. Yeah, we could be just left on an island, just hardly getting a touch. And Nelly Emo says Chido is not ready. He needs a season out on loan before he's ready for our first team. Otherwise, he will be killed the way we are killing Rasmus. I don't know if that's necessarily true. That he might not need a loan. Might not do him any harm, but we're not watching him like in the training. We don't know. They might get to the end and decide the best thing is to keep him here, give him some minutes off the bench next season. You know, start staggering him in. Or they might say, actually, he is really good. Can we get him in the Championship? Can we get him in League One, playing week in, week out? You're right. I'm not saying it's a definite no, Nelimo, but I don't know. We just don't know. Ray Carl Brown says, I throw Chido in when we safe and no pressure, maybe 4 to 5 games to go, just to see him for next year and beyond. So maybe back end of the season, settle down. We definitely know we're not going down. We might be hopefully in the last stages of some cup competitions. And then we go from there. So yes. Yeah. Where are we at for likes? We are 188, but we've got 1,000 people watching. You know what I'm going to say, peeps. Let's raise that. Let's get to 250. ASAP. No, let's get to 300 because we're nearly at 200 already. We're 188. So let's get to 300 ASAP. Let's do that. And then go from there. Okay. Let's move on. Jesse Lingard yesterday was on X having back and forths with fans.
Yes. He was active. He was active on social media yesterday. This was a bit of a strange one in the sense of where the original sort of post came from. So there was to kind of explain it, United District posted a video of Jesse Lingard, like, again, in December of last year. And someone put a response to it saying, him, Pogba, Rashford destroyed the culture. Even Rooney admitted he was let to have his own culture with those two other vultures after Sir Alex left. Now, Jesse Lingard quote tweeted this and said, please explain how me, Paul and Marcus destroyed Manchester United's culture. A few minutes later, he said, waiting for an explanation. I'm not sure if he ever got one, to be honest, yesterday. Now, he did sort of finish off the day with some sort of positive news, revealing some messages of some United fans saying, you know, we like you, Jesse. We always like to enjoy, but don't listen to the hate and all this kind of stuff. But it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because it brings up that sort of wider conversation about all of this. You know, we've been talking a lot recently, haven't we, about, you know, the problems at Manchester United, financial ownership, you know, attitude across the board, all players. And I think, I don't know about you, Flex, it is such an oversimplification and an easy, and the word scapegoat gets used a lot, doesn't it? But if you really think that Manchester United's decline over the last decade plus is due to Jesse Lingard, Paul Pogba, and Marcus Rashford dancing, enjoying themselves, is absolute nonsense. It is absolute nonsense. And in the same way of sometimes there's, you know, times to say stuff and not times to say stuff, Jesse Lingard plays in Korea now. He's well within his rights to have a go back and be like, what do you mean by that? Explain yourself. And usually they can't. They can't explain themselves because it's bullshit. I mean, literally, the picture there is them holding a trophy, you know. And I think if you look at their tenure at Manchester United, Pogba, Lingard, Rashford, I think all of them, now that they don't play for United anymore, you would say that none of them probably was the success that people thought or imagined they would be. But that's the same for a lot of players over the last 10 years too. And yeah, I think they're right to push back. So I don't think that's a fair indictment of their time there. Did it live up to expectation? No. Is it completely their fault? No, of course not. It's ridiculous. What do you think?
It is. It's stupid, man. It's stupid to pin all of Man United's failings on these three players, and Jesse in particular in this, who's clapped back. And he has, someone today, he's got every right to basically say, please explain to me how. Like, I just think, I don't understand why people, even at the time, get so offended by a way of expression. Do you know what I mean? A type of characteristic and personality that somebody has. How you can be offended by somebody doing a certain dance or talking a certain way or dressing a certain way. Like, and this is why actually, to bring it really to now, when people are doing the Sol Campbell meme and saying, is it an underbelly thing? Is it underbelly? Is it underbelly color thing? Is it an unconscious bias? Is there, because, well, you have to call a spade. How are grown people? I've seen it. I've seen people say, and heard people say, I can dance like a pair of clowns, dancing like idiots, or it. That's because you don't express your way like that. The Latin or the South American players, Hispanic players, they probably put their type of music on in the training room and start dancing and doing a bit of a madness. Like, that's how they express themselves. And I just think there's this, even if people don't realize they're doing it, or whether they do, that's up to them. But there is this thing that people feel uncomfortable with, like black footballers sometimes, like expressing themselves and being confident and strong. Like, I don't get it, just because it's not what they do. And even if you go back to, it's an interesting thing. When Paul Scholes was talking about it the other day with Adam McCullough, shout out Adam McCullough.
Yeah.
He posed the question to him, saying, because they went in on Lewis Skelly again and said, well, yeah, he just shouldn't be doing that, etc., etc. I said, well, what's the difference when Neil Maupay's taking James Maddison's dart celebration? Yeah, but he just takes the piss, isn't it? Okay, so what? Listen, I don't need to sit here. I'm not going to sit here and say this person's racist. But I would just ask the question, okay, so what is the difference then? Like, why is it okay for Neil Maupay to do it and not Miles Lewis Skelly? Can someone answer that question and give me a valid reason. I'll leave the question where it is. Why is that unconscious bias happening? Why is that decision being made? Why is Neil Maupay just a prankster? That's like, we want to see more of that in the game. But Lewis Skelly, it doesn't get the same vim. I don't understand it. Why is it all right that there's a whole montage of Jamie Vardy, pure shithousery, absolute shithousery, big Sky Sports. Here's the best of it.
Yeah.
But now it's a problem.
Just celebrated, literally celebrated. It's celebrated with the compilations.
It's literally celebrated. So listen, back to the Jesse thing and Pogba, I've heard people say that, you know, like really scathing words like a virus and a cancer. Like, do you know, like as descriptive words, as adjectives, like how like the meaning that those are. Do you know what I'm saying? And Skibbity, like, this is what I see at F's sake. Not everything's a race issue. This is embarrassing. None of those players were good enough. Move on. And this is where the lines get blurred, Skibbity, because when you try to talk about this, like overall, 100%, Owen literally just said, like, these players potentially, did they live up to maybe what we expected them to live up to? No. I've literally said many times, let's not bring Paul Pogba back. That wasn't a good period. Let's not do that. It's not about race, but if you're uncomfortable talking about a bigger thing as to talk about it deeply, to say, well, why is that happening? Then I will challenge you, Skibbity, to just open up, bro. Like, open up to not be blind and blinking. Like, this happens in our society. Not always with like the intention of causing this offense, by the way. We're talking about the unconscious nature of it. There's something uncomfortable about that some people find about like young black athletes, like just being it goes confident and expressing themselves. I don't get it.
Yeah, it goes back to, isn't it? Like you said, it goes back to the language used, and sometimes, and this is when it goes back to the societal issue of it, is sometimes it's completely unconscious. You know, sometimes it's completely unconscious. It's not, you know, directly, you know, sometimes obviously it is filled with like hate and vim, like you said, which is awful, but sometimes it's not. And sometimes I think it is about, you know, the education point of view, to mention, you just said that. I know you don't mean it like this, but that is basically what you're kind of saying there. That is basically what you're trying to sort of, without even knowing that you're saying that, there is a difference, and you have to kind of, like you said, point it. And sometimes that's when you get responses like that, which is, you almost get offended by it. You know, you get offended by it and, you know, go, oh, no, because that's not that. And you go, well, partially, you know, it is. And again, this is the inability nowadays to separate issues, or actually have nuance in issues from each other. So if you're going to talk about Jesse Lingard, Paul Pogba, and Marcus Rashford and their time at Manchester United, again, you can talk about them and their failings and their, you know, successes at Manchester United without it being, you know, yeah, but he came here, Paul Pogba, and, you know, some of the haircuts. What does that have to do with anything?
Yeah, 100%.
You know? It doesn't have to do anything.
It's that form of expression. Shout out, Menace. I've just got it reflected saying Skibbity. Listen, hey, shout out MC Skibbity as well, by the way. If you know about the jungle scene, the drum and bass scene, Skibbity is a real legend. I don't think it's this Skibbity that's talking now. But he's saying, how's that an offense? It's a question. You want people to open their minds, but are unwilling to do it yourself. Well, no, I'm not unwilling to do it myself. Like, this is why we're talking about it. I just disagree with what you're saying, because he's saying you not think that you consciously looking to apply racism to everything, which I don't apply to everything. Hence why I've just cussed out Jadon Sancho for what he's done. I'm cussing out Marcus Rashford for the lack of application that he's done. So if I was applying racism to everything, bro, you'd see me on the side of the black players all the time, no matter what they did. So you're chatting shit. And racism to everything that you may hold unconscious bias. So it's not that I'm not opening my mind up. I'm just not listening to the shit that you're saying, because you're talking crap is what you're doing, Skibbity. So,
well, yeah, and you mentioned about opening your minds up or whatever. If you want to have an actual conversation about it, and your first reaction is, well, not everything's a race issue, then you go, 100%. Well, that's not opening your mind up, isn't it? That's getting very close-minded, isn't it? That's exactly. At least, if you're to open your mind up, you're opening your mind up, is it going, well, could it be? Is it? Why isn't it? Or why is it? That's having a conversation, not immediately, no, it's not. When you shake your head and go, no, it's not, that's pretty close-minded, isn't it?
Exactly. And then again, through trying to make your point, what I don't like is when people try and make their point or bring their opinion, they say lies. So You're applying racism to everything. Don't you think you're applying racism to everything? When have I done that? When do I do that then? Do you know what I mean? So yeah, it is what it is. But I think it's important to talk about things like that. Because of this, actually.
Yeah.
You know, like look at what the comments are saying and how people are. And Skibby's saying my point is to just focus on the fact that Pogba left and got banned for being a drug cheat and Lingard playing in career. Their attitudes have been discussed a lot. It's not a race thing. All right. Well, if you think that's fine. If your opinion is a part of their how they're spoken about has no connotations around that, you that's fine. In opening up my mind, yeah, to take other opinions in, that's okay. You can think that. I'm not on that. I'm not naive enough to think that that doesn't happen in the society and in football. So if that's what you seriously think, no problem. That's you carry that opinion. But I would challenge you to look bigger than that, bro.
Well, I would suggest that again, if you want to say about being, closed-minded or being open-minded, I think closed-mindedness is to just think it's just because of, the attitude at Manchester United. Let's be honest. We've all seen, like, if you go on to social media nowadays, you see some of the headlines nowadays. You look at, I go back to, was it Andre Onana? Remember Andre Onana drops car keys? No, we're not going to do that. It's interesting, isn't it? It's
what
stuff.
Was it Raheem Sterling bought his mama house?
Yeah,
Phil house. Made up, Owen. It's made up.
And again, that's when you go back to sort of the closed-mindedness and go, no, it's not. You have to again open your eyes and be like, even if you think it's not, go, well, what if it was? And
Saka
again,
in the Euros.
Let's
Saka in the Euros, mate. Man of the match pretty much every game. Jack Grealish off the bench, front. No worries.
That's like, again, what are we doing here? And that's not to say that's not to say, when Marcus Rashford plays Man United, he should fucking run more. Of course he should. He should contest headers. Of course he should. But closed-mindedness is to be like, no, it doesn't exist. No, it doesn't exist. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's just
you've got to have to be real, live in the real world.
What? There's been loads of things that have happened. There was one more Sterling.
I mean, literally, the Scholes one the other day. He's just, he's just winding people up. Go.
So why is Lewis Skelly not just winding people up then?
Yeah, really,
Honestly, and listen, if these type of conversations make you feel uncomfortable, you don't like it, I'm not going to apologize for it because it's important. We always speak about these issues when it's the right time to, and this I think was the right time to. Everyone, smash a like on the video. Where we at? We are at 277 likes, nearly at 300. Let's keep pushing. We're at 1111 current viewers as well. So shout out to you guys. It's just gone up. And hit the like on the video. Let's go back to the super chats and make sure I've read all of those out. I think there might be a couple more. Throw tubing when safe. I think it's there. David T says the fans / Glazers are equals in this toxic culture. And Ray Brown says it's because United don't win with them. No more ever and Rio was pure jokers in the dressing room, but because they was winners, no one cared about their jokes. And David T says of the top 4 clubs, how many shit on their players?
All of them. That's football nowadays. Have you not seen? Have you said Arsenal fans talk about Kai Havertz? Have you said about Liverpool fans talk about Darwin Núñez? And you see Matisse talk about Jadon Sancho just the other day. They all do it. We are not. I mean, obviously we notice it more because we're Man United fans. We live in the Manchester United sphere. But I mean, unfortunately, that's football. If you go to a football match, oh my God, you go to a football match, you stay in the stands, someone does a bad place pass, you're fucking shit. They do it all the time. Everyone, Man United no different in that regard. That's what it is. Is it not?
No, it's true. If you're not doing well, people are on you. It's just how it goes. Do you know what I mean? It's just the facts of what happens. That is what happens.
Yeah.
So if we're honest, we have to just call it out as it is and see it for what it is, and say, right, okay, we're fickle. That's what and football clubs treat players like shit all the time. Zanura says does the youth team play 3-4-3 as well? I'm not sure. I don't know. Just looking like yesterday's match, trying to see what formation it was. It doesn't really say it on this website I'm on now. I'm not sure. Maybe someone drop it in the chat. What formation do the under-18s play? Good question. Barca Rashford update. What's going on?
Yes. Interestingly, Deco, you remember him? What a player. What a player. Was talking about Marcus Rashford. He's the director, I think sporting director at Barca now, heavily involved in everything. And obviously Rashford was linked with them. Some still saying that after this Aston Villa loan, he might even still want to go there in the summer. Well, Deco said it's true. We were talking about Marcus Rashford and it was a possible signing, but he didn't come. We weren't desperately looking for a signing. He was not a priority. Now, knowing how lots of things get played out in the media with Marcus Rashford, does that give you anything about like his possible future? Does that mean he's definitely not going to Barca now, Flex? Is it still way too early to say about all that stuff?
It's too early. I still stick with, he's played one game off the bench. I still stick with, I think he'll want to move on to somewhere like Barca if that opportunity arose. I think he definitely would go. But you have to look at how it pans out in its entirety with his loan at Villa. If they don't get top 4 or top 5 and aren't in the Champions League next year, they don't win any trophies as well. And he just did all right, goal here or there, but in and out the team on the bench, mainly sub appearances there and there. Then he'll probably go, yeah, that was just nice to go, just to get back up to speed, play some football. Right, now what am I doing with my career? Or it could go really well. He could just really take to the life there. The fans could take to him a lot. He could be getting like a lot of stuff. He could do like a Lingard at West Ham vibe and fire them into the top 4. Imagine that.
Yeah.
And go deep into the Champions League. Might not win it. Well, won't win it. Well, I say he won't win it. Very unlikely that they win it, but could go, you never know. There could be an amazing night in the semi-finals against Real Madrid. I don't know. Maybe they go out in the semi-finals amazing. Maybe they beat them at home and then lost in the Bernabeu. There's a real big story to be written here for Aston Villa, and it's quite exciting, obviously, for Villa fans, but as a neutral, I'll be honest, I like Villa. I like their players. I wind up Dan Bardell all the time because sometimes they get a bit big for their boots, thinking that nobody can take their players and they're just the best thing since sliced bread. Still haven't won anything yet. But in terms of their team and their players and the feel-good factor, how they play, I just like them. So it'd be interesting to see what story is written for the rest of it. And it depends how Rashford plays, how he's feeling, where Villa go to. And does that entice also the type of offers it entices for the other teams to come back in for him? What does that look like? Would they have seen enough to go, tell you what, look, he's doing it against Juve in the Champions League quarterfinal. Then they played Real Madrid. He was at it. The European teams look at that, if he gets back to his form as well. So even in the league and the FA Cup, did they go deep in that? So I don't know. It depends on a lot of factors, man. That story's not written yet. I think all options are on the cards. It's not a guarantee that he doesn't want to be there, wants to go to somewhere else. He could really take to it.
Yeah, no, I think I don't know. It's interesting how the deal was put together with the Villa one, because obviously they've got the buy option, but from my understanding, when sort of with what Fabrizio was sort of saying, it's a buy option and that contract had already been agreed. So if he triggered this one, I don't know if he's already agreed to. I don't know how this is kind of working. Is it still upon Rashford that he can still go? Naturally, I know I don't fancy it. I would have thought he would have at least some wiggle room that if he decides he doesn't want to go, but they still want him, that he goes, no, actually, no, I'm not interested. Hence why he said, I'm only here for a short amount of time. And I feel like he's keeping his options quite open for the summer. And like you say, maybe his hope is that he does play well, does start playing some, and he would certainly have more offers on the table, one would think, in the summer. I mean, it was always going to be a difficult deal to do in January anyway because of the finances that he's on, and obviously with Barcelona with their finances, bloody hell, every levers and future seats that they have to sell and all that kind of stuff to get all that stuff done. So maybe he does have his his eyes open for something else in the summer, and maybe Deco, because you look at what he's sort of saying there, he's going, well, we could have. But, we weren't really looking for a signing. It wasn't a priority. And maybe it will become a priority for them in the summer. I'm not sure. But I agree with you when it comes to Villa. I think Villa's, that's why I was, when it first came out that he was going to be going there, he could be going there. I was like, that is the perfect place for him, honestly. It's the perfect place for him because of the style of football that they play. That's why I like watching Aston Villa at the moment, because I think nowadays, over the last few years of football, there has been this sort of focus on you. Everyone just tries to sort of copy what Pep's doing, don't they? And try and be heavy possession. And that's why it kind of worries me a little bit with us at the moment, when we're like, we've got a lot of possession now. And it's like, if we don't really do anything with it, we play in the horseshoe and then go long. And then at the end of the game, when we get to half time, you go, let's look at the stats. You go, Man United had 60% of the ball. You go, we've done nothing with it.
We've had it. Yeah, exactly.
We've had it, but whereas Villa, it's not really about that with them. They'll be much more direct. They'll be faster. They don't mind playing directly or on the counter attack.
Really good in transitions, man.
Yeah, Pep even said it the other day, didn't he? He was talking about how football's now evolving and changing again. That kind of era. It's not to say these players are now outdated or passé, but that era of having, that sort of small technical player in the 10, in and around the pitch, just 1-2s, and suddenly every team had to have like 3 or 4 of them just to keep the ball, couldn't get it off them. That's changing now a little bit. You're starting to see, especially in the Premier League, you see these Premier League teams, they're filled with giants again, aren't they? If a player's not over 6 foot, you're going, I tell you what,
how's this
going to
be difficult? Yeah, exactly.
Middle, big defenders. They're all like 6'2", 6'3", 6'4". You watch Everton
Powerful,
last night.
Quick.
Their back four was all like 6'4".
Jared Brandthwaite was good yesterday, by the way.
He was actually good.
I tell you what, that game I thought. I'll tell you what.
He was up for it as well, and middle of midfield is filled with big players, strong players, fast players as well. And again, it's kind of changing. It's getting a bit more physical. Obviously, a lot more emphasis now on set pieces than there used to be. And that's what English football used to be about. Set pieces, long ball, being direct.
Yeah.
So it is kind of changing a little
intensity.
bit.
Yeah, it is.
And going back to Rashford, that's maybe why Villa suited on him, because he had some of his best moments for us playing in transition, when we were under Ten Hag or Ollie playing in transition. So I think that will work for him. But it does make me worried a little bit, actually, though, just thinking about that change of football. If football is changing now again, and it's like, okay, it's going back to be a bit more direct, a lot more physical, set pieces. I look at our team, I go, how many proper
no athletes.
Athletes do we have
saying it? We've been saying that since last year, bro. We've been saying
in that
this.
team. You look at the Merseyside derby last night. I think was a great game because it was a really good game of football last night. Obviously, the atmosphere, obviously Goodison Park, but even a David Moyes team. Because when I was watching Everton last night, I was going, actually, they're doing all right. They're playing good. So
before that goal happened, they
being
scored.
Close to the bottom of the league, and since Moyes has gone in, they've done okay. But you look at them and go, they got a lot of big players, don't they? A lot of big players, and that is when you just go put a couple of sort of technical players in there, then you've got an all right team. I look at the United team and I go, actually, the athletes, athleticism, height, power. Even people like Lenny Yoro, it's not to single him out in terms of a critique, but you look at me, and one of the first things we say is you put on a bit more size. He's quick, but he's put on a bit more size. And then sort of the players that are bigger, you look at like Maguire, you go, well, he's slow. De Ligt, not really. How much of an athlete is Matthijs De Ligt? He's not the quickest player. Middle of midfield, we're going, I tell you what, Cobby, has he got the size for that? Maybe he should move a little bit further forward, be in the middle of the park. Ugarte, strong, not the biggest player, though.
Yeah, it's a mixture. It's a combination of both, right? Because to play intensely or with intensity, you need probably a mixture of both. So you want some tall, powerful people in there. You want a combination of everything. But it's just about the application. Like James Garner was in midfield yesterday, bro. James Garner.
Yeah.
He was here. Obviously not good enough. And we said, we wish him the best. And coming through the academy was like, oh no, let's get him. But he was just running around like a lunatic. You look at Idrissa Gueye, he's not massive. Not massive. Just running around, blue ass fly. Jack Harrison, it's not huge, not massive, not overly bulky, not overly tall, average height, intense, running around. Mikolenko, left back, not massive, just intensity. But then, like you say, Decore, big stature, Beto, big stature. Tarkowski and Brantford, sort of a strong spine.
Gravenberch, you look at him, once he starts going, you can't stop him.
He's like 6'2", but then McAllister's not big. Diaz is not necessarily big. Curtis Jones, not necessarily big. But that's when, again, Robertson and stuff like that, I know he's on his way down, but it's that balance between, like, you need players of a certain stature in your team that are that type of makeup. But then you also need the mentality and fitness of players who can just get about. Get about, like swatting flies. We're like, go away. And they can, obviously, you look at how Everton played yesterday, you look at the occasion as well. So they probably aren't at it as much as that. They were out front, they were just on it. And if they, tell you what, if they play anything like that next week when we play them, I don't know.
We go into that atmosphere. We go
into that atmosphere. Which, let's be honest, I kind of hope that they, on the weekend, whoever they got, just get a bit back down to normal, get slapped or something. Because if they win that game as well, I tell you what, we are in serious trouble. One game at a time. We've got to go Spurs first, but already I've looked at that and I went, you're forgetting Goodison Park shutting down. So it's the last time, as a Man United game. I know it's nowhere near as important as Merseyside derby, but a big game. The big games for David Moyes against the top 6 opposition, even though we're not there, against the big clubs, they will smell blood, especially against a Man United team that looks like this. Well, they're a few points behind us, isn't it?
Yeah, a couple of points behind us. Yeah.
So by the time we play them, let's be real, they'll probably be able to go. If it goes wrong against Spurs and then wrong against Everton, they'd be above us anyway. They're 2 points behind us. We're par. So they will smell big, big trouble. And if they play as intensely as that, we're in big trouble.
And that's why I was on Friday. That's why I was losing my head, because it honestly, it pisses me off so much to see that the games against Liverpool, to see the games against Arsenal, where they can play for that intensity, our players. And then we play, and I know every game is not super intense, and different games mean more than others, and I understand that. But you see with these better teams, there is that sort of baseline level of intensity that is always there, and it's not there for a lot of our players. And spare me when they come out after the game and be like, well, how did you get this result today? It was because we wanted it, intensity. It was up here. And you go, well, it's not fucking there then most of the time, is it? Because it's you can't just get like a good result and then point up here and then most of the time be rubbish. No, you don't get the right to be like, intensity, because if you're showing intensity less frequently than you should, you can't pat yourself on the back when you do actually display it. And you're right. I look at that team that we have, or that squad of players.
Who's got that in them to run around like that?
All the time. You look at Ugarte, gets about the pitch, but recently even him looks tired, doesn't he? And you see, and what Amorim was saying, wasn't it? Going, I want players to have, be running more, want to show that intensity, and it's just
we don't see
it's not there. It's not there in a lot
nothing
of
like
games.
Sporting when you see them going for it, like on the front, because that's eventually what he wants. That's what he wants to see now. Like you said, we just don't possess players to do it. The 2 strikers, they're not, massive work. I mean, Holding works hard a bit, but they aren't massive presses. They're not really that. The inside 10s, whoever it is. Ahmad does it. How many times he nicked the ball? Like, did it to Brantford actually earlier on the season? Nicked the ball off someone, caused a turnover. He did it against, was it Pilsen or was it the other game? No, the game at home. Bodo Glimt, one under Rude.
Have you noticed with him now as well? Because last couple of games he hasn't been as good.
No, he hasn't.
And he's almost falling into, I think, the Bruno Fernandes trap now, whereby because this season we've relied on him for moments and scoring goals, when he's been having some poor games, we are really reluctant to take him off because we're like, but we've got nothing else, so we'll just leave him on. And the last couple of games, like against Leicester, it wasn't great. You know what I mean?
No,
wasn't great. But because we've got nothing else, we're like, well, what do we do? And like you said, because a couple of his goals have been pressing people, closing them down, nicking it off their foot, we go, well, we need that, because
he keeps players honest. Because even if he's having a bad game, he still takes the ball. And when he goes to play, I've seen it. He covers last space where he takes the ball maybe like midway into our half on the right, or sometimes even halfway line, and the defender instantly gets into that jockey position. Like, I don't know if you've noticed, and they just start backpedaling. Before you know it, we're in the box. And yes, he might get blocked or he takes a bad touch. He goes out for a goal kick. He hit the floor. It hasn't quite worked for him in the last few games, but he always engages the defender in a way where they fear him. And we need that because he can carry the ball, even if it isn't always going to plan. And again, it's the same with Garnacho, really, isn't it? Like he's come off the bench recently and done well. Sometimes when he started, or even when even in them games when he's come off the bench, he engages the fullback straight away. Ben Godfrey went, oh, shit. Like,
yeah,
I got. Oh, this is a match. Was it Godfrey? No, not Godfrey. Justin. Sorry, James Justin. Just went shit. I'm in trouble. Like, as soon as Garnacho come on, drop the shoulder, he was gone.
I've got to actually defend like a fullback.
Yeah, I've got to defend now. I'm going to get engaged. And sometimes you get past him. Justin might get back and get the tackle, or Garnacho messed it up. Side net in, didn't take the right up. But that consistency of getting at the man, that's where you break through. That's where you break through because you're going to get a chink in the armor. You're going to get someone who basically takes their eye off the ball or makes a mistake and then you force a chance or whatever. And you're better off having people like that who just keep going and keep getting change than like passive people that just keep it slow or, there's a time to slow the game down. I understand that, which is why Ahmad is good because he understands that. But that back to what you're saying, the intensity far too many times, even under Eric last year, I've said it for years, actually. Why can't we just swarm team? Go for them, like properly go for them. Even the games where we've won that have been a bit controlled and stuff like that, I've never really seen us like go for the kill, swarm them, nowhere to be seen. Like, do you know what I mean? The other team can't get out. But like Show says, Everton away next weekend, long, and it is long. It is, and Spurs is also long.
Yeah.
The Geordie delegate says, remember the two who wrote the article about Flex? Oh, well, I was back to that racing fit. Yeah, exactly. It exists. It exists, man. Big up to you, Geordie delegate. And yeah, the last thing, that entertaining. I know we spoke about it a little bit, but yeah, the entertainment last night was really good. Hopefully, Liverpool will start to fall off, but they didn't lose.
Genuinely, I missed it because, like you, because I was really enjoying the game. And I thought this is a really good game. Obviously, like I said, last Merseyside derby at Goodison, atmosphere was up. And I'll give David Moyes credit actually because I thought Everton actually did look really good. And I was like, I'll tell you what, and they have recently under him. And maybe it's just like I'm old school me going back to being like a child, but it does feel right having David Moyes be the Everton manager at Goodison Park. I literally was sitting there thinking, I feel like I'm 10 years old all over again.
Yeah.
And but when Salah scored, I went, well, I can't be bothered to watch this shit. I thought they've won, and
I knew he was there doing that as well.
On commentary, Ali McCoist, and they were like, proper like, oh, it's sensational. They've been superb. I was like, I've seen enough of this shit. And then so when I saw online afterwards, it all started popping up a bit like you going, they've scored last minute. I was like, what? What is this? And then when I turned it over, then saw like the post-match brawl, and Arnie Slot. I mean, that video
lost his
of them
shit,
scoring and Arnie Slot going mental is amazing. And him getting sent off for aggressively shaking Michael Oliver's hand.
Oh, is that why he got sent off?
That's why he got sent off, because he went up, because there's a video of it. He goes up to him and he shakes his hand. But I also agree with what there's other people's critique. If you've got to go back from like a complete neutral point of view, what a shocker Michael Oliver makes everything about him, towards at the end of a big match, final game, Merseyside derby at Goodison Park. It has to be.
What was he? What did he? But people were saying that in the group, and I was winding up AGT and Cecil because they were saying, "See, it's Michael Oliver, Michael Oliver." I see Liverpool fans saying, what did he do wrong at the end though? Weren't they should have got yellow cards for that. Though. They were doing madness.
Because like this was the other thing with Curtis Jones, wasn't it? He didn't need to kick all of that off by flying up to it. Was it?
And then Decore he's gone over to the away fans. He knows what he's doing. So like it's probably 2 yellows. I don't know.
Yeah.
What did Michael Oliver actually do wrong in the end of that? Like I know there's loads of games where he makes it about here, and I get that. But in this particular instance, Decore's passion spoiled over, and they're saying that they're also going to start giving yellow cards if you're enticing the fans and try and do that. So to go over to Liverpool away end, even though above them probably would have been his own fans, but he knows what he's doing, So that's gonna then to be fair, Curtis Jones, you're going to protect your badge, you're going to protect your fans and say You ain't doing that in front of my fans. Get in his face, whatever. Then they start doing a madness, scrapping up a bit. Like, it's probably 2 yellows, isn't it? And they were both on yellow. So,
to be fair, with the slot warden, I suppose, look, if you've gone up to someone and like a referee and aggressively shaking, you're going to get a red card for that. You will. Even Sunday League, if you go up to a referee that's been a shit and you've literally just gone, oh, thanks, ref, they'll be like, I'm going to send you off. Clearly, I'm going to send you off.
You didn't give a clear penalty.
I'm just glad they did that to Arne Slot, because they would have never done it to Jurgen Klopp. Some of the stuff that Jurgen Klopp got away with on that touchline at different points was mental. Remember when he screamed in the person's face, then pulled his hamstring afterwards? They were like, "Oh, Jurgen, what's he like?" You're like, you just screamed in a guy's face. You can't do that, surely.
Exactly. So says there. Don't think Oliver did anything wrong last night at the end of the game. I just saw a melee, and it's like you had to give a couple of yellow cards out to that. That was just mad. But then again, you could have just gone, it's just a passion ball over. The game's over. Let me just walk. Let me just get out of there. But I do think it was they were going mad. Police was on the fucking pitch, like especially in a derby like that. Then the Liverpool fans threw a couple of water bottles on there. Like it can get messy.
It was good.
Oh, it was brilliant. It was great.
Good.
It was great.
That was good.
Proper Barclays. That's why I don't like when they keep trying to sanitize the game. You know what I mean? When they said with the celebrations, if they start, doing this, that, and the other, like the Ndiaye one with the Brighton, and like it's funny. Like we need it. We need it.
Yeah,
so,
I agree.
Yeah. There you go, guys. Big show. Thanks for getting involved. Thanks for enjoying. Thanks for watching. Thanks for smashing like on the video as well. We got to 417, which is pretty good actually. We're very, very close, as you can see there, to 189k. Yeah. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Let's get to that little 189. Look a lot better on screen, 189.
Yeah.
Especially when we get to 190 as well. That's going to look good. And we can go, right, 10K. 200K.
Countdown fully on at that point.
Countdown fully on at 10K. It'd be amazing if we could hit that. And it'd be great support. So big up to each and every single one of you guys. We are out of here. Thanks for watching. Take care.